Congratulations, you made it to the first episode of the. To explain what this is, I'll be giving ratings to movies using the same basic principles as the Richter scale. How much rock was moved? Hi, my name is Rock. I base movies based on how much rock was moved. So that's why we're calling it the Richter scale. I really wanted to start this series with the Odyssey. I love the Odyssey. I love the Iliad more, but I do love the Odyssey. So I watched this a few days ago. I did watch Brand New Day last night. I did my recording on it already because of how I'm just gonna say this. This is like trippy because it's gonna be releasing first, but it's gonna be talking about something that I've already made that's going to be released later. But Spider-Man Brand New Day, dangerous film. It it like sugarcoats sexual assault. Yeah, watch that video if you want to hear about it, but like it legitimately shows someone being sexually assaulted and then having them saying, "Oh, it's not a big deal. That's okay." It's a kids movie. Sorry, let me stay focused on the Odyssey here. Sorry, I just have to rant about that again cuz it's so crazy. But I want to make this about the Odyssey. I want it to be the first in this series that I'm doing of the Richter scale, where I rate movies and give like maybe any edits, any opinions, any reactions to them. But it's also gonna be very authentic. I'm not scripting this. I'm too lazy for that. I've tried, so I guess I'm not too lazy for it, but I'm too lazy to do it right because I've tried and I failed multiple times, which is why I'm doing this after Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let's get into it. I was very apprehensive about this film because of the very high priority of using only practical effects that Christopher Nolan is known for doing, and that they're making the entire book into one movie. I don't like that. The Odyssey is a very long book. I love what Dune did by making parts one and two of the first book. I think they should have done that here. I don't think they had enough time to give the Odyssey the amount of screen time that it really deserved. But it also felt like the movie kind of dragged on a little bit too long, unfortunately. So they definitely should have made this into two movies. It's very unfortunate that they didn't because they also cut out a lot. I'm not going to spoil it. I understand the Odyssey is a very old book. The movie is different from the book. Not a lot, but it is different, and I don't want to spoil either. While the book may be 3,000 years old, you're not. Some people have to go like you don't learn to read until you're probably like 7 years old, right? Or like you learn before, but not like really reading. And like really reading and reading comprehension is until you're like 7 or 8. And to read the Odyssey, you need like high school level reading comprehension. A lot of kids, they go high school to work to babysitting their siblings. They don't have time to read a book of that scale. So I'm not going to spoil it for you. That's not fair. The fact that people do that shit. GTA is 13 years old. I can spoil it all I want. Hey, dude, some people just got their first job and they can only buy GTA now. They couldn't have afforded it before that. Their parents couldn't afford it before that. They may have not been old enough for their parents to allow them. So don't spoil shit for people just because you were exposed to it years ago. Stop being a dick. I digress. The Odyssey, I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but I will say they cut a lot out. A lot of parts that I really like. I will say this is not spoilers because it has nothing to do with the story, but the gods do play a big part in the Odyssey, not in this movie. Christopher Nolan's over reliance on practical effects, while it does help the movie in a lot of cases, does bring it down in some others. And I just don't appreciate that. I love the Odyssey. I love how how hubris is the biggest obstacle for Odysseus. Again, these aren't spoilers, these are just themes. It's not that fucking important. But hubris is one of the biggest obstacles for Odysseus. In this movie, it's not. I don't know what the term for it is. He's not that hubertory. I don't I don't fucking know. I may be stupid. I may be a chud. I don't know though. He doesn't have a lot of hubris because he's not that smart. And that's his biggest strength. In this movie, he doesn't seem that smart. He mainly fails up. And the smartest thing that he does, he's warned to do it by somebody else. And I don't like that. He's actually kind of dumb in this movie. So That's very disappointing. I will say, give Anne Hathaway her Oscar nomination. She's probably not going to win it because Indy Navarrete and Obsession. Holy shit! But Anne Hathaway, great job. And I'm going to say the only big name actor or actress in this movie to not play themselves as the character are Anne Hathaway and Mia Goth. I will say that. Like, Mia Goth had a very small role in it, so it makes sense why she didn't. But even other people who had smaller roles, they just played themselves as that character. Like, Zendaya was Zendaya's Athena. Tom Holland was Tom Holland's Telemachus. John Berthnall was John Berthnall's Menelaus or Menelaus. John Leguizamo, I think is his name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that pronunciation. I'm not familiar with that actor. I have seen him in things, but I don't know him like that. Um, it was his Eumaeus or Eumaeus, whatever. I'm not good with names. You're gonna see that in these videos. I'm not good with names. I'm sorry. But also like Elliot and Lupita, they were kind of just playing themselves as Helen and Simone. And also people giving Elliot shit for being Achilles don't understand Achilles. And second, he wasn't Achilles. He was a completely different character. These people were just complaining about the movie before they watched it. They were taking shit out of their ass, throwing it at the wall, and then being like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I think it looks like shit. It's your shit. It's your shit you threw out the fucking wall. Movie's good though. I love the sound design. I love the costumes. I love the set pieces. I love the practical effects. I do think it brings it down. I hate how much they have cut out of the original story, but I will say, hey, that scene with Cersei, S tier, A plus 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 plus, amazing. Love, best scene in the movie in my opinion. Matt Damon gives a dialogue at the end of the movie, also really good. Anne Hathaway's entire performance, very good. I think she is the best actress and actor in the entire movie. Very, very good by her. Agamemnon, great ore farming, but I will say, movie is as a standalone movie, with when you take no nuance, no subjectiveness, just complete objectively, what is this movie on the Richter scale? I give it a 7.5. I give it a 7.5. I will say the movie is very good, but as an Odyssey adaptation, I gotta give it like a 6. Um, I gotta give it a 6 for how much that they cut out and how much these characters have no immersion into their roles. The terminology that they use, the phrasings that they use, the way that they talk, the way that they act, it was very unimmersive. I will say there was many times where I was like, this isn't Telemachus, this is Tom Holland. This isn't Menelaus, this is John Berthnall. Like, even there was times where I'm like, this isn't Odysseus, this is Matt Damon. And that shouldn't be how historical epics and historical movies should be. And I gotta say, I gotta give Troy, I know people hate on Troy, I gotta give Troy its flowers. Never once in that movie am I going, that's not Hector, that's Eric Bana. That's not Paris, that's Orlando Bloom. That's not Helen, that's Diane Kruger. That's not Achilles, that's fucking Brad Pitt. That's not Agamemnon, that's Brian. Dude, they were great actors and actresses in that movie. The amount of shit that they get, I don't understand. I get it's not their best performance. They were all fucking amazing. Great set pieces. Same problem that I have with this movie though, like the exclusion of the gods, the rewriting of characters, more characters are flat. Like, why is that? Why is that? Why is it so hard for modern adaptations of such old stories? They can't make the characters deep. Why is that? That's actually genuinely confusing. Homer made more complex characters than Christopher Nolan could. That's fucking crazy to me. But here's the thing. If you want a completely historical reenactment of a book, read the book. Go to a museum. Don't watch the movie. The movie, for what it's trying to do, I like. And that's why I'm giving the Odyssey 2 different ratings, right? As an Odyssey adaptation, it's a 6. But you have to understand, this isn't Homer making the Odyssey. This is Christopher Nolan making the Odyssey. His Odyssey, I will say as a movie, is like a 7.5 to an 8. I'm not going to give it an 8 because it felt like they were trying too hard to be themselves as these characters. So that hurts them. And that brings the movie down to a 7.5. I think it's worth watching. I think it's worth going to in the theater. I think you will actually miss out if you don't go to it in the theaters. I think there are specific scenes that if you don't watch it in a movie theater, you will not enjoy it as much. And while that sucks, that's just how it goes. Sound design in this movie, I gotta say, you need a theater for it. It is really good, really good. I had to turn my lights on. It was getting too late in the day, and I wanted to let my cats outside just so they get some fresh air. But that's the end of the video. I was gonna do like a my own version of like what I think they should have done, but I deleted all of it. I was just yapping for a long time. I think it should have been 2 parts, and I think one of the big things is that make Odysseus smarter, right? I think one of my favorite parts of the Odyssey is when Odysseus is talking with Polyphemus, right? The scene in the movie isn't that intelligent in my opinion. I would have liked something where when they attack Polyphemus, it is Odysseus underestimating him and being like, oh, he's not intelligent enough to understand our pleas, and if we let him know we want to escape, he will be alert and he'll watch out for us and catch us if we try anything. So we just need to attack first, showing his hubris and saying that he is smarter than the son of a god, Polyphemus, the son of Poseidon. So when they attack, Polyphemus should be like, Father, please get vengeance for me, kill them all. And then Poseidon would speak to him, and Polyphemus should repeat Poseidon's words. Because I understand that he doesn't want the gods to be that integral to the story, and that, like, they shouldn't show up like Zeus, like, not Zeus. Poseidon shouldn't just show up and speak for himself. It should be Polyphemus saying what Poseidon said to him. Polyphemus should be like, my father said nobody should leave this cave alive, right? Or like, nobody's allowed to leave this cave alive. That's when Odysseus gets clever and goes, well, my name is nobody. He was talking about me. And your father said you must let me leave alive. So Polyphemus goes, oh shit. I didn't know that was an misunderstanding. Lets him out. I know it's silly, it's goofy. That's what the story of the Odyssey does. Will it fit into the story? I don't know. I think a lot of the movie should be rewritten and to fit more of the Odyssey book, but I think that would have been cool. That would have been very clever to show Odysseus was able to catch on immediately and be like, oh, but I am nobody. My name is nobody. So your father said you have to let me out. And then Polyphemus lets him out. All of his men escape with him because, Cyclops is blind. They sneak past as sheep. And when Odysseus is sailing away, he goes, I am Odysseus, the man who fooled the son of Poseidon, right? And then that's when Poseidon takes it personal. I was like, bitch, me? You fooled my son? Fuck you. I'm reiterating the score on the Richter scale. It is a 7.5 out of 10 for a movie, but a 6 out of 10 for an Odyssey adaptation. That's about it. See ya.